Yeah, I went live a little earlier than I expected, but let's just do this because I've got a lot to say on this particular matter. On the day that obviously Moises Caicedo officially signs for Chelsea and Romeo Lavia appears to reject Liverpool in favour of Chelsea, seemingly following suit of the Ecuadorian international. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Dark couple of days it has been for Liverpool in terms of the transfer window, in terms of missing out on some big targets, and today has obviously been the confirmation of missing out on those targets, it seems, as Chelsea wrap up the deal to sign Moises Caicedo from Brighton in a monumental, massive statement, £115 million deal, whilst it also appears that Liverpool may have also missed out on another long-term target in Romeo Lavia, who appears to have rejected the Reds in favour of the Blues in a similar fashion to what we have seen Moises Caicedo do in recent days. A lot to talk about on this, so do get involved. I want to hear from you on this in the comment section. Do get involved in the comment section. I do want to hear your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, everything that you've got to say on this, on these two stories in particular. Down below in the comment section, whether you're a Chelsea fan, whether you're a rival fan, whether you're a neutral fan, or whether you're, of course, on the other side of the fence of being a Liverpool fan. As I always say, I am a Liverpool fan. So, of course, I have a lot to say on these particular stories, as Ballum seemingly does here. Hope you are well, my bro. Nice to see you in the chat. Here we go. Liverpool cannot get two players in. They need to get somebody in ASAP for a number 6 CDM role. Yesterday, that 1-1 draw against Chelsea, it was proof. It was staring you right in the face, bro. I understand where you're coming from. I can't stay for too long. Hey, anytime that you come along, whether it's for a few seconds or for however long the stream lasts, it's always appreciated, my brother. So thank you very much for coming along. We shall see what Liverpool have up their sleeves, as the saying goes. Look, we're going to have to hope they pull a rabbit out of the hat. And maybe not just the one rabbit. We're going to need to hope that they pull out a few rabbits out of this particular hat that is worn down, worn out, and just tearing at the seams, it seems. Look, obviously, if you're in the chat, hit the like button. Or if you're new to the channel, subscribe if you're new. Both of those things are greatly appreciated, of course. But without further ado, we're going to get straight onto this. We're going to talk about Moises Caicedo, and we're going to talk about Romeo Lavia. Look, the Caicedo thing, from a Chelsea point of view, it's massive, it's monumental, it's a huge statement signing, and really, it was a signing that should have been done a long time ago. This should not have got as far as what it did, with Liverpool seemingly coming in at the 11th hour and potentially taking him right from Chelsea's grasp. We know that. Chelsea should have had this deal wrapped up a long time ago, but that still doesn't mean it is right that Liverpool should be feeling like, oh, well, we weren't going to get him anyway. We still went the extra mile by putting in a monumental bid. And for us, going that extra mile and putting in the kind of bid that we did was monumental and was obviously a big statement of intent that obviously was rejected by the player himself and was left with egg on his face. So for anybody out there that seemingly thinks that a player doesn't want to go to a particular club, they clearly do. The ones that were saying that Sandro Tonali, for example, didn't want to go to Newcastle, they have a say in this. Players have a say in where they could go. Tonali could have stayed if he was that happy at AC Milan and wanted to stay at AC Milan. He chose to go to Newcastle. Players have says in where they want to go. Of course they do. So just want to clear that up, just that little bit. In terms of Caicedo, with the whole Liverpool thing, I can't fault the owners in terms of how they went about it. Maybe we should have got this deal wrapped up a long time ago. Maybe that's the only thing I can say, is that maybe we should have looked at him a long time ago. Maybe we should have looked at him during his early days at Brighton. Maybe we should have even looked at him before he was at Brighton. Because as we remember, Brighton picked him up for peanuts and they're selling him on for big, big, big money. Manchester United were also involved in potentially signing him very early on in his pre-Brighton days. So there was a bit of knowledge about him from England. There was a bit of knowledge from elsewhere other than Brighton, and especially for a big club like Manchester United. I can't fault the owners in this particular one in terms of going that extra mile to try and put a statement out there in terms of this deal, to try and throw a bit of a spanner in the works. I can't really fault them for that. This one is more on the player's side than it is the owner's side or the club side. Some people be like, how is Chelsea, who play in Fulham, are doing this with FFP? My response is that they had a transfer fan not long ago with Frank Lampard, and they have been selling players. I get that, and we'll get onto that a little later, but they have spent 800 million in the past year, and it does look a bit suspicious when you all put it like that. Chelsea loan away Kepa, interesting. Adrian is still available for them. Doubt it. Adrian, the goalkeeper to go Chelsea. Chelsea sold Callum Hudson-Odoi to Fulham, it seems. I think players aren't going Liverpool because Chelsea had the London appeal. Newcastle have top 4 appeal. Agents and advisors been telling stuff to think. Are you not glad Liverpool did not sign the crazy money they paid for him? Right, lot to unpack there, bro. Lot to unpack there. What I'll say is I can't fault the owners for trying to do something in this transfer window. We've been crying out for them, and in the moment that they do, people go against them. I can't fault them for what they did. This is not necessarily on them to a point, because let's face it, whilst the player rejected the club, this level of intent and this level of ambition should have been displayed when Liverpool were at the top of their game and winning trophies. This should have happened when we were on the verge of winning a quadruple. This should have happened when we were winning the Champions League. This should have happened when we were winning the Premier League. That's when this should have happened. That's when this kind of transfer with this kind of money should have happened. Look at the way Arsenal have been conducting their business in recent years. No Champions League football, no making the top 4 or doing or winning any kind of major trophy. You can count the FA Cup if you like every now and again, but no Premier League titles in 20 years, no Champions Leagues, not even making the Champions League. They still went out and they still made big business and they still spent big money. Our owners simply didn't do that. And they tried to, again, save a bit of money here, save a bit of money there. And ultimately, all the teams that were beneath us have caught up. They've all realised their mistakes. They're all trying to make things better. You look at Manchester United, look at the way that they've done their business over the past couple of years under Erik ten Hag. They brought in a manager with brains, and they're starting to put together a unit. They're starting to put together a force again. You look at the way that obviously Man City go about their business, and I know it's Man City and they have oil-rich money, but you look at the way that they continue to go from strength to strength. They don't rest on their laurels. They reinforce. They go again. They are strong in that aspect in terms of mentality and in terms of forward-thinking planning. You look at Newcastle and the way that they're building up. They look frightening on Saturday. I know that it was against the Aston Villa side who were a little bit out of character for them in terms of their defensive outlay. But still, they look frightening. And you can see what they're building there. And you can see that it's only going to get stronger with experience, stronger with obviously more money coming in, stronger with a business plan that is going to make them a solid unit on and off the pitch. They're going to catch up with us eventually. Maybe they've already overtook us right now in terms of the here and now aspect. It's frustrating that this has happened. It's frustrating that the one time we show ambition, the one time we show a bit of intent is when we're having to now play catch up. When we were at the top of our game and peak of our powers, we didn't show this. We're showing it now because we're scared and because we're thinking, hang on a minute, these teams that were beneath us and seemingly so far in the distance are now catching up with us. we're a little bit worried now that maybe we're going to miss out on targets. And don't get me wrong, in my opinion, Caicedo went for money because there were still a lot of question marks over Chelsea. They looked pretty good on Sunday. They looked pretty good against us on Sunday. But, you know, we weren't at our strongest. We weren't at our best. We know that because we've still got holes in our team. We've still got holes in our team that need to be plugged, that need to be filled. We get that. We weren't at our strongest, but that is still a Jurgen Klopp team that, for the most part, has been together throughout the majority of his reign there. And our defence didn't look solid. It didn't look great against a Chelsea side who were young, who were inexperienced, and ultimately probably should have won the game with the amount of chances that they had. I know that we created some as well, but ultimately that team looked very, very good, looked very strong, and you can see the platform immediately right off the bat with Pochettino that he can now build upon. You can see the players he's got at his disposal that he can help grow and he can help elevate. That Chelsea side as a project looks ambitious, always has been with the amount of money that's been thrown at it, but it looks ambitious, it looks exciting, it looks interesting. This Liverpool project right now, it can look interesting, it can look exciting, it can look like it wants to get back to how it used to be. But we make too many mistakes. We make too many mistakes in terms of our transfer policy and our transfer strategy. We did it last year. We're doing it again this year. And I can already see down the line next year, if we don't sort out our defence in particular, I know we need a number 6. We'll get that. We'll get to that. But I see down the line in a year's time, not signing a centre-back will ultimately leave us to the point where next year we're having to clear out our defence, and we're going to probably miss out on more targets because of that. That's just the way I see it. Klopp needs help. He needs a new midfielder. New midfielders are needed, definitely. We've been saying that and screaming that all summer. Manchester City have been sold Riyad Mahrez. They have a elusive defender in now in Guardiola. They will keep Kyle Walker. They have experience of winning stuff, and they should win the Super Cup. Honestly, City scary. Like, City probably could win the remaining, what is it? Is it 6 competitions that they're in this season? They probably could go on and do that. It wouldn't honestly shock me if they did. Nice to talk to you, bro. Always good to chat to you, my dude. Fingers crossed, obviously, for better things on the horizon as far as what Liverpool go. But thank you for coming along. Thank you for interacting. Always appreciated, my dude. So thank you very much for that. Take care and have a good rest of your night. But yeah, this should have happened a long time ago. This level of ambition should have been displayed a long time ago. FSG messed up greatly. Klopp's a part of it. Klopp's not entirely blameless. But FSG in particular messed up completely by not doing this kind of thing earlier when we were obviously at the peak of our powers, at the top of our game, and obviously had one of the most exciting projects, the most want to be a part of projects in world football. That's what happens. That's what happens when you leave things to deteriorate, leave things to rot. Eventually, it seeps through to the entire team. And don't get me wrong, like I say, this team isn't a million miles away from transforming. It can be transformed. You just need the right players, and you need to go out and get it. The issue Liverpool have now is what I keep saying. Teams know we're desperate now for particular players in particular areas, and number 6 being one of them. Yesterday screamed out number 6 for Liverpool. Absolutely screamed that out. We need a number 6. That was what was needed. In my opinion, if we had a number 6, I feel like we could have controlled the game a little better. I'm not saying the result might have been different, but I feel like we could have controlled the game a little better. Maybe Chelsea wouldn't have got in behind us more times than what they did. I'm just saying, like, we didn't prepare this season, and I've said it time and time again in these streams and these videos. We've not prepared to begin this season. You don't prepare to fail, you fail to prepare. And that is exactly what Liverpool have done so far during this campaign. I don't care that there is, 2 to 3 weeks or whatever it is left of this transfer window. The transfer window for me, barring major injuries, major moves in the transfer window, the transfer window for me ends before the season begins. That's when it personally ends for me, because that's when you should be able to, by that point, bring in the players that you need, let them gel in. And like I say, barring any major injury that may happen between the beginning of the season and the end of the transfer window, and that little bit of period of time you've got between games being played, competitive games being played, and the end of the transfer window, that's when you should be making your emergency sort of transfers. For me, it's a massive worry that we still haven't got a number 6. There's been no news today in regards to a number 6, other than Lavia rejecting us, following suit with Caicedo, rejecting us for Chelsea. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. There was a bit of news. Apparently, we might be turning our attention to Tyler Adams, the guy that Chelsea were after, seemingly had a deal wrapped up for, and then as soon as they heard that we were going in for Caicedo, they decided to switch their attention very quickly, drop Lavia at the drop of a hat, and turn their attention back to Caicedo. Tyler Adams, a guy who, he looked decent at Leipzig. I don't think he really set the Premier League alight last year at Leeds. I think he's currently injured, which actually suits very well with the kind of midfielders we brought in the past. It just taking the mick now a little bit, I think. I'm just taking the mick with that one. Sayroy. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I do apologize again, my brother. Nice to see you again, dude. Been a long time. I hope you are well, my friend. Chelsea and FFP, no problems apparently. Liverpool have a harder battle to buy replacements when they are desperate. Best time to buy backup before you release player weakens negotiation power. Exactly. We let Henderson and Fabinho go too soon without getting replacements. And, you know, I can talk about Chelsea's FFP thing. FFP, we know it's crap. We know FFP is just this thing that is used as this imaginary sort of regulator to try and, mainly for the smaller teams in the league, to go, don't be spending too much money, otherwise we'll come down on you. We know it's just a myth. We know it's there. We just know it's never used properly. We know it can be easily got by because it seems everybody's doing it apart from Liverpool, apparently. But yeah, I don't understand how you can spend 800 million. I know that obviously Chelsea have gotten rid of a few players, and I know that they make a lot of their money back by loan deals, but no sponsor, a lot of money being spent. And by a lot of money, I mean on individual players. There's like over 100 million being spent on 2 of them, just under 100 million spent on a couple more. I find it bizarre how in the space of 1 year, Chelsea can spend around about 800 million odd and nothing is being said about it and nothing's being done. I don't get that, but that's no excuse for the way that Liverpool have conducted their business. The Caicedo thing, like I say, that can happen. That can happen to anybody. That can even happen to Manchester City to an extent. A player can reject City, and players probably have rejected City and Pep Guardiola at times. I think even if you go to this summer, I think there were reports of Jude Bellingham attracting the interest of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, and he rejected them to go to Real Madrid. Now, I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I remember reading certain reports that suggested that that may be the case. So having players reject you does happen to everybody. This shouldn't just be, haha, let's all laugh at Liverpool, because everybody has it. What should be, what is hard to have is when two players in quick succession do the same thing. Liverpool, I read that one, sorry. Real Madrid have two midfields to sell, retweet about Valverde and Tchouaméni. Look, as I mentioned Tchouaméni yesterday in my match reaction, Tchouaméni, for me, why not go back in for him? Why not? We've already proven how much money we've got to spend. We already know that Real Madrid attempted to maybe looking into the possibility of exploring maybe selling Tchouaméni if the deal is right, because we know that they've got one eye on a certain French striker who weirdly is now back in the PSG lineup in Kylian Mbappe. Why not test the waters again? Why not? We've already let the defensive midfield pool in this transfer window dry up without actually going out and buying a replacement for our only defensive midfielder or our only experienced defensive midfielder in Fabinho. Why not test the waters for Tchouaméni? Why not? Pronounced correctly. Thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate you sticking with me on that one. My memory is terrible, as is my pronunciation for certain names and words in general, because I am very, very stupid. Totally agree. FFP is no good for competitors, but Chelsea taking the piss a little bit like never before. Also, how is this an 8-year transfer? I thought they were getting rid of those. Or is that just something that is going to be coming in like next year or whenever the Premier League can be bothered to, or FIFA or UEFA or wherever it is, can be able to enforce it? Am I missing something? I probably am missing something, obviously, but I thought those kinds of contracts were not allowed in football no more. I thought the maximum you could give was a 5-year contract. So am I missing something a little bit on this one? I'm a little bit confused, but I'll get on to Chelsea a little bit. I feel like I've dragged them a little bit on this, so I do apologise if there are Chelsea fans out there that are listening to this and wanting to hear more. I will talk about Chelsea and Caicedo and how much I think that is a fantastic signing for them a little bit later on in the video. But I just want to finish the kind of points on Liverpool with this whole Caicedo and Lavia situation. So over the past couple of days, Caicedo has heard of a deal in place between the clubs, between Liverpool and Brighton, rejects Liverpool, wants to go to Chelsea. Like I say, fine, fair enough. It's a little bit embarrassing. We're a little bit of a joke in the footballing world right now, but those things happen. For then Lavia to do it, and this one hurts more because this deal should have been tied up and done, dusted, completed weeks ago. This deal should have been done weeks ago. Liverpool have had 3 public bids rejected by Southampton. What the hell were we playing at with this? Don't get me wrong, I didn't personally want Lavia. I thought he was a good player. I thought he could be good for the future. I thought there may be better options out there that we should be exploring. But at the same time, I was willing to back the club that if the club wanted Lavia and they wanted him and he was their number one target, I was more than happy to go along with the ride and say, you know what? If you think he's great, you do you, but I'll be keeping an eye on it. Why did we mess around so much with the bid? We know what Southampton wanted. We knew what they wanted. It's the whole Jude Bellingham thing all over again, but this time on a slightly smaller scale and more embarrassing scale, because we knew what Southampton wanted. We knew that they weren't going to cave in. We knew they weren't going to change their minds or opinions on what they wanted. They stood firm. They stood adamant. They said, we're not moving on this. And yet, all we did was mess around over a few million here and there, put in 3 public bids that got rejected. And we're sat there scratching our heads going, I don't know what they want. I don't understand it. We made 3 bids that were very, very tempting. This is very strange. And then in come Chelsea, again, spending big money. How does this make any sense that they've gone from we can't spend any money to here is 100 and whatever it is, what would it be, like 165, 170 million on 2 players? And they just get him. They just waltz right in and take him right out of our hands. This makes no sense to me. Like, it's mind-boggling and baffling. Makes no sense to me how we can mess up a deal this bad. The Caicedo thing is, like I say, bad enough, but that can happen. The Lavia thing, which should have been tied up 2 to 3 weeks ago, maybe even longer than that, is damn right embarrassing. Damn right embarrassing. And I don't understand whatsoever Liverpool's transfer policy, because up until this point, Liverpool's transfer policy is pretty shrewd. It's pretty secretive. It's pretty smart. We may not always get our top target, but we get some good deals done, and we get some smart deals done, and we normally keep our cards close to our chest. This transfer window, for whatever reason, there's so much obviously going on behind the scenes at the club in terms of lots of people in power changing and switching positions, and obviously people that are influential in this kind of area obviously changing and things like that. So I get that. But why would they change the entire approach? Because this is just dumb. This is just dumb how we've gone about our business like a bull in a china shop, just throwing around whatever we can get and trying to make something stick. Like, explain to me, somebody, please explain to me what our strategy has been. Getting McAllister was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I love the signing of McAllister, and I think he played pretty well yesterday for the most part. Szoboszlai, I think, is going to be an absolute baller. He's shown some good signs already of that. I like that signing. But the way we've gone about our business in terms of selling players and then trying to replace them, trying to resurrect and rebirth our midfield. Started off well, and then we basically went, right, this looks pretty good, but I'm getting kind of bored, so let's swerve into a tree and crash. I don't understand the way that we've gone about our business on this one. A deal that should have been done 2 to 3 weeks ago has been taken right off our grasp by Chelsea, who, like I said at the beginning, like, I get it. Their project is big. Their project is exciting. Their project has got a lot of money built into it. And don't get me wrong, I think Caicedo has more chosen the money. But at least there is a project there as well. It's not like he's going there solely for money. There is a project there. There is something building. There's something exciting there with Pochettino that could be about to obviously be unleashed, something that could be about to be built upon. There is something there at Stamford Bridge that is brewing. I get that. I 100% understand it. But Lavia, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. And again, to further the point of our transfer strategy being all out in the open and being completely different to the way that we've conducted our business in the past, we're now not going to be in a strong position in negotiations. As Sayroy says, our negotiation position now to whoever it is for whatever player it is now in a weak position right off the bat, because not only do other teams know the kind of players we're going to be coming in for, not only do they know the types of players we're going to be coming in for in certain and specific positions, but they also now know how much money we've got to spend. We've been sat on 110 million since we sold Fabinho. That was like, what, a month ago, give or take? We've been sat on like 110 million at the very least. Like, we could have been sat on 110 million maybe even long before that. And then maybe like the Henderson fee and the Fabinho fee could be added on to that even more. We could be sat on more than 111 million. But let's take that as the base fee for right now. We're sat on 111 million right now. Whoever we go in for, that price tag is going to somehow magically just go up a little bit. That price tag is going to have a few extra quid just piled onto it. Because they now know how much money we've got to spend. How dumb are we? How dumb are we? Which is why, again, we're going to be looking for bargain transfers. We're going to be looking at everybody's contracts in fine details. We're getting our little microscopes out, going over contracts to find out if anyone's got a release clause. And yes, it could work. Of course it could work. But Jesus Christ, this should have been done a long time ago. Jesus. Yeah, players don't always end up at a club, but it's how public this rejection is too much. There is rivalry between Todd Bowley and FSG too. That goes back to baseball. Yeah, it's a public thing, and you know we're on the wrong end of it. So we've got to basically take our medicine from the entire football community and just be like, yeah, we got egg on our face. We're embarrassed on this one. Because there's nothing else we can do. And like I say, players reject teams all the time, regardless of who you are. It's like you said, the public nature of it and how brutal it seemingly was. That obviously is embarrassing and obviously hurt us a lot. The 8-year thing was way to subsidize the highest fee, which Chelsea did with Enzo. UEFA changed it to 5-year to pay the fee, but since they are not in the Champions League, somehow this doesn't affect them. Is that true? Is that legit? Just because they're not in the Champions League, this doesn't affect them? If that's true, that is mad. That can't be legit, right? Is that genuine? Like they can get away with it? Just Todd Bowley's found another loophole. Jesus Christ! If that is genuine, that's mad. It's genius, but it's mad. It's genius, but it's mad. Calvin Phillips is player Liverpool have on their list. Jesus Christ, no. I mean, he fits the bill. We've got injury hit midfielders. He fits the bill perfectly. He'll play for a game and he'll be out for several. He'll join Thiago in the medical room more. He'll form a partnership with Thiago in the medical room more than he'll fill up a partnership in the midfield with Alexis McAllister. So, Jesus Christ, I just need Liverpool to pull a few rabbits out of this hat. Whatever remains of this transfer window, I just need Liverpool to pull a few rabbits out of this hat, man. It's not looking like we're going to be doing it either. You know, we've got a few weeks left of this transfer window, and like I say, we need at least one more midfielder and we need at least one defender. And maybe even then that's not enough. Maybe we need more. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, bring in a right back. Bring in a right back, seriously. Bring in a right back, bring in a centre back, bring in a number 6. Because that way, if we bring in a right back, we've got cover for Trent. And we can also then have the option of moving Trent into midfield, which could act as just another midfield option. Bring in a centre back. Konate and Van Dijk for me yesterday didn't really put a foot wrong. There are a few moments. I think you can maybe sort of look at Van Dijk for the goal as well as maybe Trent. But apart from that, I thought they were pretty solid yesterday. I thought they were pretty solid. Konate in particular. But my question for Konate is, Can he stay out of the medical room long enough to actually play a majority of a season? Can Van Dijk get back to his best? Can Gomez and Matip be capable of dropping in here and there when called upon throughout an entire season? I don't think so. And if we don't address that defence, then in a year's time, we're going to be exactly where we are right now, looking at our midfield, but this time shifting our focus from that midfield to our defence. And then do you think a world-class player like Mo Salah is going to be like going, I mean, I've only got a year left and, you know, time's ticking. I could really do with leaving this place soon. Do you think a world-class goalkeeper like Alisson will also be thinking the same? Do you think the likes of Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, even to a slightly lesser extent maybe, and Diogo Jota and maybe even Cody Gakpo won't be thinking, you know what, I was kind of sold on this team getting better. I was kind of sold on this team being more ambitious, being more superior. Clock's kind of ticking on that. I'm honestly, I'm getting kind of worried, and I need this team to start pulling rabbits out of the hats between now and the end of the transfer window. Like I say, it's not ideal. This should have all been done and dusted before the start of the season. But Jesus Christ, it is embarrassing. It is majorly embarrassing, and I'm not happy about it whatsoever. And I'm worried. I am worried. I was trying to stay calm, cool, and collected, throughout the transfer window. I was trying to be calm about it. I was trying to be like, okay, I'll try and reserve my judgment till the end of the transfer window. It's kind of dark in here, isn't it? I was trying to reserve my judgment till the end of the transfer window, and then I could give like a proper review. I can't. After seeing all this, I simply can't. Like, I had to say something. Like I say, getting rejected by Caicedo for Chelsea is one thing. Getting rejected by Lavia as well, a deal that we had in the palm of our hands that should have been wrapped up and dealt with weeks ago. And the way we've just absolutely just messed it all up completely is embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. It doesn't sound right. Todd Bowley loves loopholes, was pushing 5.5-year repayments after the new UEFA changes. Number 6 is hardest. Position to go in the market. Scouting is important in time like this. I mean, this is the thing. This is the thing. Brighton can do it. Brighton can do it time and time again. How can Brighton scouts do their homework and do it to such a intense detail, into the intensely minute details, and manage to pull out these wonder kids all the time that they go on to give them a platform, give them a stage to express themselves, and then go on and sell them for big money elsewhere? How come Brighton can do it, but teams like Liverpool can't? How come we have to wait until a team like Brighton produces a talent or finds a talent before we go, you know what, we'll take him? Why can't we do that right off the bat? Why can't we go out, buy these talents for only a few million quid here and there, make better? They're already at a top club or one of the best or the best in England. And then they don't need to move until we decide, you know what, we may have got your best years out of you. We're going to sell you on now and put focus in the next guy that's going to come in after you. Why is it a team like Brighton can do that and Liverpool can't? And like I say, I'm looking around this transfer market right now. The centre defensive midfield options, the CDM options, there's not a great deal out there, in my opinion, that would A, fit Klopp's system, B, hit the ground running, at least in my opinion. I could obviously be proven wrong on that one. Or C, just in general, be financially secure, or at least not have a certain team in blue, London blue, come in and try and take him off us. Honestly, I'm baffled by it. I'm annoyed. I'm not annoyed by Chelsea. It's smart by Chelsea, and like I said, I think they're going to get two very good, worthwhile additions and two very smart ones as well. Because whilst I've constantly said that I don't think Lavia is ready for the here and now, he can do a job for the here and now, but he's going to obviously be more long-term solution. He's going to be more of a long-term fit for Chelsea. Obviously, having Caicedo being brought in is going to obviously help him, and it's going to help him take the load off. Obviously, playing intensely week in, week out, and obviously it provides options, it provides depth, it provides rotation. There's a lot there with just those two players alone. When the Caicedo deal seemed to be going Liverpool's way, it just seemed like midfield was up there with City. Just one solid signing away from title challenge. Window still open, anything possible. I get that, mate. I completely get that. And I want to be optimistic. I don't think one defensive midfielder coming in is going to make us title challengers. I know it can have that sort of feel to it. And I know that, you know, when Manchester United bought Casemiro, for example, and their whole midfield changed last season from doing that. There is a possibility that maybe that is the case. There is a possibility that, of course, maybe, just maybe, that might happen. But do I put my faith in this club, in this ownership, to go out and make such a signing? I'm going to turn on... No. I'm going to turn on the light. Hang on. Because I didn't realise it's got a bit dark in here. Wow, that lighting is really terrible. I need to get a new light. I need to get a new light. That is... Jesus, that is bright and horrible. I definitely need to fix my light or get a new one. It's probably better in the dark, right? Yeah, it's probably much better in the dark. Let's just turn that one off because that is shocking. Sorry for that. Absolutely abysmal. Absolutely shocking. It's weird that it's in the dark, and it's weird how dark this room got. But Jesus Christ, this is god awful. It's almost like Liverpool's transfer window. It started off quite bright and then got dark. And being artistic. Trust me on this. I'm being artistic. Get it. Where was I? So yeah, that's sort of my rant on Liverpool. Somewhat over with. Like I say, I agree with you. There's still a couple of weeks to go. I'm annoyed because we should have got this done and dusted. We were told that Jurgen Klopp wanted his business to be done very early on, and I think obviously plans changed because they didn't think that they were going to be selling Henderson and Fabinho. So I get that to an extent, but the fact that they didn't wait to get replacements, the fact that they didn't go all in for Lavia, it just reeks of strange business and weird business to me. All in all, it's just weird to me that all of this took place and occurred. As far as what Chelsea go, look, I have my reservations over the whole FFP thing. I think it's weird that they've managed to do what they've done in the course of the past year, and seemingly no one in power is batting an eyelid. So I find it strange in that regard. But at the same time, like I say, it's an ambitious project. It's a solid project. It's a project that they've got a good manager running in Mauricio Pochettino. It's a project that is being heavily backed by a crazy billionaire owner who, of course, has got more money than sense, it seems. But at the same time, if he gets the right people involved, it will eventually be heading in the right direction towards major success, whether it's both on and off the pitch. Caicedo joining them is a massive victory and a massive triumph for Chelsea. This is a guy who has been electric for Brighton, who has been solid for Brighton, who has been consistent for Brighton in that midfield role, whether it's ball winning, whether it's being an engine, whether it's being a box-to-box, whether it's popping up the odd goal or two here and there, or crucial in transition and play. This guy is a crucial piece in the midfield. And in a Pochettino system, a double pivot of him and Enzo Fernandez is going to be insane. Absolutely insane, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, like, obviously it still needs to be worked out, and there still needs to be obviously time to gel between the two and understand each other. But once they get that understanding, and let's face it, they're relatively young. They've still got about 8, 9 or 10 years probably still to obviously be at Chelsea. And obviously they could be there for the very, very long-term future, and especially if their contracts or anything to go by, they're very much there for the long-term future. But they're young. They're going to be there for the long-term future. It's a fantastic signing, and I think this one is going to unlock Enzo Fernandez even more. We saw how good he was yesterday, and granted, it was against the Liverpool side that as the second half particular drew on, the midfield became less and less existent and couldn't get anywhere near him. But at the same time, we saw his quality. We know how good he is, and we know how good he can be. We know the potential that he's got. I think it can be further unlocked by having Caicedo there, who will complement him heavily. And like I say, if you add Lavia to the mix as well, it adds depth, it adds quality, and of course, with him being 19 years of age, he's there for the now, and he's there for the long-term future as well. But more importantly, of course, it means that he can come in and there is no pressure on his shoulders to obviously make the leap and the jump from a Southampton side who got relegated last season and is now currently in the Championship to a Chelsea side under Mauricio Pochettino in a very ambitious and very intense big project that, of course, could see them be insanely successful in years to come. We'll obviously have to wait and see how it goes. But if you're a Chelsea fan right now, you're absolutely buzzing at the fact that not only have you signed Moises Caicedo, but it seems Romeo Lavia is very close to joining as well, having turned down Liverpool in favour of a move to London. These are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think on any of these stories, on Moises Caicedo, on Romeo Lavia, on Chelsea, on Liverpool, on this entire weird and crazy, wacky, roller coastery saga that has played out these past few days. I'm going to go because this darkness is really weird, and the more I look at it on my screen, the more it's just weird to me, and it's probably not good for you guys to watch, although me being in the dark might actually be an improvement on me. Depends how you guys see it. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think and feel on this in the comment section, in the chat, whatever it may be. I'm sure you have a lot of interesting thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on these particular stories down below or in the comment section, wherever it may be. Thank you very much for everybody who got involved. Thank you for the likes. Do hit the like button on the way up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things always are very greatly appreciated. Thank you to those who contributed in Ballum and Sayroy as well. Thank you very much for that. It was good to talk to you guys, and was good to hear your thoughts on these stories as well. Thank you for getting involved. Always appreciated, as is all the likes and subscribes and whatever else it may be. Always appreciated. So thank you very much for that. Otherwise, thank you all for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. Fingers crossed for a brighter live stream, maybe in future, a brighter video, maybe in live stream, but ultimately for Liverpool, maybe a brighter end to what has been a kind of poor transfer window, as the transfer window has obviously gone on and progressed. Yeah, like I say, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night. I'm going to go and watch Manchester United now and probably be even more annoyed because I would suspect United are probably going to win tonight. So I'm going to mentally prepare myself for that. So see you all again soon. Appreciate it. Have a good night.